So, sir, you can go on. Now it is on live.
Okay, I'll start. Thank you so much. Now, if you recall that yesterday we said if that for patents are granted for inventions and inventions are related to functionality, problems that relate to functionality. So we said that when we do our research, when we are trying to address some issues of functionality, for example, if we are looking at smart materials, then we are saying that, well, these materials must perform better than some of the material. So that word better is a functional attribute. If we develop a computer program and we say, well, if you run this particular program in the system, then it will take less of RAM. It's a functional attribute. Yeah. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, some background noise is coming, no? Now it will be okay. There was some background noise.
Okay. So the point is that we talked about invention, and the question we asked is that are all types of inventions, can any and every type of invention be patentable? And we asked ourselves the question that what are the benchmarks? What are the type of questions that would be asked about my invention to ascertain whether my invention is patentable or it is not patentable? So obviously that every invention will be subjected to a certain examination process. And in this examination process, we said yesterday that there are two filters that our inventions have to go through. And only if it passes through these two filters that I will get a patent. If it does not pass through these two filters, then I will not get a patent. So the question that we raised yesterday was, what are all types of inventions patentable or not? And we said that these two filters, I showed in this diagram that there is what I called as filter 1 and filter 2. And filter 1, we said that the law, the patent law in India itself makes a list of inventions that they say that if your invention falls within this particular list, then it is not considered to be an invention within a Patent Act. And if it is not considered to be an invention within the Patent Act, then you will not get a patent. Why? Because the Act itself is saying that if it falls in this list, then it is not patentable because it is not an invention. The Act does not recognize that as an invention. And so what we did after this is looked at that list. Now starts my question that we discussed a few items from that list. So my question to you is, and anybody can please initiate the answer. I will wait for a few seconds. And that is, you remember that we went through 3 or 4 items in that list. So will anyone recall what was at least 1 or 2 of those items that was in the list that we discussed? The floor is open to you. Kindly respond as to, you will recall that we talked about filter 1. We made a list of that, we made a list and we discussed 3 or 4 items. So my question to you is that do you recall what we discussed yesterday day before yesterday in terms of at least 1 or 2 of those items? The question is open to the floor. Kindly have a look. Kindly respond. I'll wait for you to respond. Kindly respond. Any one of you, please respond. I'm waiting for your response. Kindly respond. Kindly respond. I'm waiting for your response. we made a list, we discussed the list, and we said out of that list, we looked at 2 or 3 of them, rather 4 of them. But can you recall any one of the 4? Anybody? We said something. Do you recall?
IG Car, can you, you are sitting in one place. Can you answer? Any of you?
You remember that I just told yesterday, we looked at day before yesterday, and we discussed a bit. Anybody would volunteer? Please initiate. I will help you, but please initiate the process. Please initiate the process.
Come on. IG
Please
Car,
go
can you-
ahead. At least say something.
Somebody is coming. He will
Yeah,
answer.
please, kindly do it. We'll wait for you. Kindly do that. Anybody?
Hello.
Yeah, please. Please respond. Anybody?
Answer.
You know, if we listed a few items, I will show you again. But please try.
Conveyor crane.
Please go ahead.
Conveyor crane.
Sorry.
Please
I'm
speak
waiting for
once
you
more.
to respond.
Is it audible, sir?
Yes, audible. Now you
Yeah,
can speak.
Please speak. Please speak. You're audible now. Please speak.
Okay, that day we have discussed about any invention of
There's some problem at your end. There's some problem
Yes,
at your end.
we have one mic which is not picking up voice acting.
The voice is cracking and the mic is not proper.
Yes, sir. We could not hear. We could only hear your voice. We are not able to speak with you.
Yeah. So can anybody from this group come to the mic? You know, last time somebody walked up to the mic and spoke. Can you come up to the mic and please speak? You know, you have a mic in the room, right?
So we have mic with us only, sir. Mic is in my hand only.
Okay. Because now I can hear you now. So please speak now. I can
Yes,
hear
sir.
you now. Please speak.
Any
I can hear
invention?
you now. Yeah, go ahead.
Any invention that intended to use commercial exploitation of would be. Hello.
Okay. Yeah.
Commercial exploitation of which would be country to public can be.
Correct. Very good. Excellent. So that is the first, we talked about it. So we will go to the list again now. So good. Start responding like this. The moment you respond, I know that I'm reaching you. Otherwise, what happens is I get lost. Correct? So your response was
Yes,
a good
sir.
response. We will carry on and we will go ahead with this. So please keep responding like this. Okay? However short it may be, however small it may be, please respond. Okay? And
Yes,
then
sir.
it will be an interactive session. Yeah? Good.
Yes, sir.
So we will go to the slide now. And now look at the slide now. And this is what is the slide changed? Has the slide changed?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So we said that here is the list which says that the Indian Patent Act mentions a list where it says these are not inventions within the meaning of the act. And if it is not an invention, then you don't get a patent for it. So act says these are not inventions as far as the act is concerned. So the first one is an invention which is frivolous or which claims anything obviously contrary to well-established natural laws. And here, you remember we took the example, for example, we took the laws of thermodynamics, we took the gravitational law, right? we took the Newton's laws of motion. Some of those things are the natural laws. And if you come and claim something which is contrary to the natural laws, then we discussed this last time, and such are, if you claim it to be an invention, then the patent law says, no, 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 this is not an invention. We will not give you a patent for something like that. Then the one which you were saying, an invention, the primary or intended use or commercial exploitation of which is contrary to public order or morality, right? That means if it is taken that this is not moral, but you come with a great invention, right? And we took some examples last time that if you have come with an invention, and if you remember, we took two examples last time, and I'd asked you whether any one of you is from biotechnology. You said there is nobody from biotechnology, but from biology. But what I'm saying is that, and then I asked you a question about stem cells, correct? You remember, anybody, that we talked about stem cells, and we said, which is the source which gives you the highest yield of stem cells. And one of the ladies has mentioned that you get the highest yield of stem cells from the fetus. As the fetus grows and you go into the cells that remains, that are undifferentiated, and before the differentiation starts, those cells, if you can preserve those cells, then they can be differentiated into different parts, which means that if I want to extract very high yield stem cells, then what will I have to do? I'll have to terminate the growth of the fetus, which means that I'm actually going to kill a life. And if that is the primary intention, then the Patent Act says, it may be a great invention, you have no problem, but we can't give you a patent because that is something which is against public order or morality. Or which causes prejudice to human, animal, or plant life or health, or to. So if your invention, let's say I come with a very, very powerful pesticide, a very powerful pesticide, and you use that pesticide, and all types of pests, every type of pest gets killed. So it may be a great invention, but Patent Act says no, because it is not, your pesticide is too strong. It is prejudice to the environment. And therefore, you will not get a patent for something like that. Right? So, therefore, every type of invention gets evaluated. Every type of invention is got to be looked into and see whether it first falls into this list. And if it falls into the list of this type, then it does not get a patent. So we talked about it. Then the mere discovery of scientific principle of formulation. So for example, could Newton have got a patent for the Newton's laws of motion? Could Pythagoras could have got a patent for the Pythagoras theorem? The answer is no, because it's a discovery of a scientific principle or formulation of an abstract theory, right? So it does not get a patent. But when you use the Newton's laws to create an invention, that creation may get a patent. That will not fall under this particular thing, because that is where you're utilizing the scientific principle to solve a problem. So the scientific principle as such is not a patent, it's a discovery. Okay? And we said that any living thing or non-living substance occurring in nature, so if there's something already occurring in nature, let's assume that you have found a new microorganism, or you have done mining and you discover a new element or a new metal or new element in the soil, in earth, right? Or if there's a volcano, and when all the eruption takes place, you go and do an investigation and you find a new type of material in that volcano ash. It'll be a good discovery, but you will not get a patent for that. Why? It is already existing in nature. It is not something that you created, right? So your creation may get, but if it is already occurring in nature, living or non-living, then you can't. Told about section 3D, I said I will talk about it later, and I'll still talk about it later. At the moment, I'm not going into it. Then, if you go further, a substance obtained by mere admixture, resulting only in the aggregation of properties of these components thereof, which means what? Let us say we mixed, we mixed 4 substances, A, B, C, D. Let us say that substance A, B, C, D. So if I mix 4 substances equally, then how much is the weightage of each substance in the formulation? Anybody? I have 4 substances. And with these 4 substances, I'm making a mixture. So, and there's equal amount of each of these items in the mixture. So how much is there in each one?
25%.
Correct, 0.25. So it's 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. Now let's assume for a moment that this item A is black in color. This item B is white in color. This item C is red in color. And this item D is yellow in color. Okay? And I mixed these 4 items into a mixture. Now, so if I ask you, okay, that what is the color of the mixture that you would expect? What would you expect? Anybody? I mixed 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. Black, white, yellow, red. And I mix it. Now, I try to find out what is the color of this mixture. What do you expect it to happen? What is your general expectation?
Should be a new
Anybody?
color.
What will be the new color? What is your expectation? What will be the new color like?
Brown.
Well, it would be
Brown.
your expectation. Your expectation would be that the contribution of the black is 0.25%, contribution of the white is 0.25%, contribution of yellow is 0.25%, contribution of red is 0.25%. So if there was a way of adding all these things, then you would get a color which would be representing this black, yellow, white, and red in these proportions, correct? So the color which you would expect, you would expect it to be a mathematical addition of 0.25 of this, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, correct? That would be your expectation. Now, if you measured it, argument purpose, and you got that mathematical addition, weighted average of this, weighted of this, weighted of this, so you take a summation of the weights of each. And suppose you get it the same, then what has happened? Then each one has contributed and you're getting that. Then even though nobody has ever mixed it A, B, C, D anywhere in the world, you have done a creation, but the Patent Act says for such a creation where you get a mathematical addition, with each contributing that weight, the weight average of that, such a mixture, you don't get a patent because they say this is a mere admixture. But suppose you did the measurement and you find it is either less or more than these, the weighted summation, either more or less. Let's say you mixed it in a certain manner and you find it either more or less, which means it is not a mere addition. Then it will be considered as an invention and it will not fall within this. So which means that when you're doing your experiments, especially when you're mixing things and putting things together, then you will have to work out that this part, that you will have to establish synergistic combinations between the different components if you want your end material to be considered for patenting. Then you will have to establish that there is synergy between the various components. Clear? So if you don't establish synergy, then you will not get a, it will not be considered as an invention within the meaning of the act. Similarly, you remember where we stopped, where this F, the mere arrangement or rearrangement or duplication of known devices, each functioning independently of one another in a known way. And this is where we stopped last time and asked a question and did not get a response. And I said that if there is a forklift, correct, the job of the forklift is to lift things and put it. If there is a conveyor belt, it is to move things from this end to that end of the conveyor belt. And here, when it comes off the conveyor belt, if there's a collector, right, which collects, and stacks up things. So, if I lift, say, this cell phone from here, put it on this conveyor belt, the conveyor belt will take it here, and this one will collect it at this end. So, if I simply, instead of using manually, I use the forklift or whatever, a lift to lift this, put it here, this moves here, and it gets collected here. This, let's say, combination, if nobody had ever done, I've done something new. But the Patent Act says that, see, the forklift did its job, the conveyor belt did its job, and the other part here, right, collected and did its job. Each one of them, okay, is basically functioning independent of one another in a known way. So even though you have made this combination for the first time, the Patent Act says this is not an invention within the meaning of the Act. So what will you have to do? You have to show that, suppose I was lifting this, then when you lift this and you put it here into this, lift it from here, put it. Now once you lift it and put it here and you make it go, and then it gets collected, unless and until you make every process dependent on the other, and therefore not each one functioning independent of each other. This will, so you'll have to establish, maybe this sees the sensor speed, sorry, the speed of the conveyor belt, and it adjusts its speed accordingly, and then lets it off, okay? So that when this is released onto the conveyor belt, the inertia of this part, it follows the Newton's law and says, oh, if this and this are moving at the same speed, then this, when it sits on this, will not feel a jerk, right? Then it will go here, and when it's getting collected, so you'll have to work your inventions so that they are not considered to be mere arrangement or rearrangement or duplication of known devices, each functioning independently of one another in their own way. So if it is you claim an invention of this type, then you will not get a patent, because the Patent Act says that is not an invention as far as we are concerned. Right? Any questions at this stage? We stopped here because I didn't get any questions last time. So any questions at this stage? Please go ahead. Any questions? See,
No,
again,
sir.
today I'm not getting any questions. Please. Either say yes or no.
No, sir.
You can't be
No,
quiet.
sir. No,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Please say.
hello,
Yeah, tell me.
sir. This if independently working, you cannot patent, but independently one forklift, if you positioning, if the is detected or not, after that another is getting moved. Like that,
So-
somebody is programmed sensor, then he can
Yeah.
patent.
So you will have to make them dependent on each other. So if I put a sensor on one and sensor on the other one, this senses what is happening there and adjust. So there is, so you write a program now, right? You write a
Yes,
program
sir.
and this whole operation takes place. So in robotics, for example, In robotics, what does happen? In robotics, the whole thing is programmed so that they are not, each part is not independent of the other. They all operate in a coordinated manner. And for that coordinated operation, you're actually writing a program, right? You're creating the mechanical device, and that is being dependent on the program. And if you do it that way, then it will fall out of this particular bed. Then it will be an invention, but we will have to look at other, that filter 2 will then come into operation, but you will pass the test of filter 1. Clear?
Clear, sir. So in vehicle industry, automobile industry, there are
Your mic is not proper. The voice is getting muddled up.
in a robotic
Something wrong in the.
automobile industry. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
In an automobile industry, welding they are doing automatically, in a moving cars.
Right.
So
So
each have their own sequence of automation. So they can pattern their own work separately. Each have their own pattern for the work.
can what I would suggest is, can you ask somebody to get that mic or the sound system proper? Because even though you're asking the question, I'm not able to hear the thing with clarity. The voice is getting muddled up completely. So one is not able to hear what you're trying to, but if I've understood roughly, if I've understood what you're trying to say is that if I have, did you talk about a welding system? I thought you talked about a welding system. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Moving
Yeah.
conveyor welding system, sir.
Yeah, correct. So if I have to do that, a moving with a conveyor welding system, suppose I have that, that means that the different parts of that are interdependent, and that interdependence is showing that they are not working independent of each other, in which case it will fall out of this objection, and then it will be considered as an invention which may be patentable. Have I answered your question?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now, then next one, method of agriculture or horticulture. So, suppose you come and say that I have developed a plow, right? I've developed a tractor. Now, for a tractor, which, takes out the soil, let's say. Now, if I invented a tractor, that device will be patentable. I mean, if we'll pass this test. But if I say, that this is the way I plow, if I use the word plow, then that will become a method of agriculture. Then it will fall into this, and you will not get a patent. And why did the Patent Act put that? That they did not want to put methods of doing agriculture, because it's a food security. So method of doing agriculture or method of doing horticulture is taken out of the patenting system, so that we don't, interfere, so that people can use inventions in agriculture in a more free way than getting them restricted. Next part, and this is a very important part where many of you are involved. Any process for medicinal, surgical, curative, prophylactic, diagnostic, or therapeutic. So, in case somebody invents a new process to do an operation, right? Now, question comes in, this process of doing an operation, will that be patentable? Now, the Patent Act says that any process for medicinal, curative, surgical, so this falls under surgical, which means a method of doing surgical, it cannot be patented. And that is not considered to be an invention, even though it may be a great invention. So, question why? That suppose you do that, then in the medical profession, what will happen? That if a doctor has to do a surgical procedure, and if somebody patents that surgical procedure, then the other doctor cannot use it without the permission of the previous doctor. It's got a patent. In which case, what will happen to the patient? So these are considerations of public good. Because of that, these fall away from patenting. However, having said that, suppose I have invented an injection syringe. Is a device, an injection syringe. So if I've invented an injection syringe, that injection syringe will fall out of this. It will not fall in a process for medicinal, curative, prophylactic, surgical, diagnostic method. It's a device. That may be patentable. But if I have to apply injection with the device, the method of applying injection will not be patentable under this particular. Any question at this stage? Please ask if there is any question at this stage. Or is it absolutely clear? Why this is so important? It's because when you're doing your research, and you want to file patents or something, then you will have to subject your work to these guidelines and then see whether it will be patentable or not patentable. Just 1 minute, huh? मैं आपको फोन करता हूँ बाद में, ठीक है? So the point is that in these, this question, when you're doing your research and you are developing some things, let us say in the field of curative processes, when you have to take a call, how to really design your experiments, what part of your work can be patented, what part of your work will not be patentable. Therefore, if you need a protection, what is the type of protection you will do otherwise? Any questions now? Please feel free to ask. I'm waiting.
Please respond.
Cannot be patented.
Correct. So it says medicinal, surgical, curative, prophylactic, diagnostic, therapeutic, or other treatment of human beings, or any processes for a similar treatment of animals to render them free of disease. So important part here is, let us take that, you have invented for example, a medicine. Now you have developed a formulation, you developed a molecule, let us start, and that particular molecule, right, you find that it's a cure for diabetes. It brings down the sugar level when it is taken. Now that invention, that it brings down sugar level, etc., will be an invention which will not fall under this, right? Because that is about bringing down sugar level in the body or wherever. Now, you create a tablet out of that. Even the tablet will be patentable. Now, if you say that you should take 2 tablets per day, and now, orally you have to take 2 tablets per day. 1 after lunch, 1 after breakfast, 1 after dinner, or 3 tablets. Then this process of doing it will not be patentable, so the drug will be patented and the tablet will be patented. Have I made it clear?
Yes.
So you can see how powerful these sentences are. Therefore, we have to bring in a lot of technical meaning into these words. Yeah, and that is how we do an assessment of whether your invention will be patentable or not patentable. Similarly, the other one says plants and animals in whole or parts thereof, other than microorganisms, but including seeds, varieties. So suppose you're doing new plant varieties. So can those new plant varieties be patented in India? The answer is they can't be patented, but they're protected under some other law, but not a patent. Now it says essentially biological processes for production or propagation of plants or animals and animals. So, how many of you are familiar with IVF techniques? IVF? Are you people aware of IVF?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
in IVF, what do we do? What do we do in IVF? You have so many IVF clinics. So what do we do in the IVF clinics? Sorry?
I'll speak.
Yeah, please go ahead. See, what are we doing? Yeah, go ahead.
These are the
What do? We do the fertilization outside, correct? We use the fertilization outside the body. And
Yes.
then after the whole thing is fertilized, we take that egg and we implant that in the human body. And then the body takes over from there. So in this part, that when you have implanted the egg into the body, the fertilized, you put it into the body, then the body takes over. So whatever you have done outside the body may be patented, but once it is implanted in the body takes over. It becomes an essentially biological process. So whatever even happens inside the body, you cannot file a patent on that. So whatever you have done outside of how to fertilize, how to sort of concentrate the sperms, how to concentrate or remove the defective ones, put them all aside, and then enhance the chance of this fertilization, in vitro, that may be patentable. But once it goes inside the body, then you can't patent that. Why? Because it is essentially it is an essential biological process. So again, when we are working in biology, we are working in biotechnology, we'll have to take care of to see that what in the work that we do can be patented or what cannot be patented. Any questions at this stage? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Now, so that is the other part of whatever it is. Now, so this is something which we need to understand. Now, similarly, as far as we are concerned, right? Similarly, if you in our there are a few others which I will come later, but this is something. So we'll come to the other parts of the list later. But what have you seen? That the first filter had the slide changed? Has the slide changed to those two filters?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you look at it, in the first filter, what did we do? I've not completed the list, but I thought just as a reminder, as far as we are concerned, in the first part, filter 1, we looked at the list, still incomplete, but we looked at the list of what are not inventions within the meaning of the act. So which means that whenever we are doing our research, we will have to make an assessment that if I want to patent my work, I'll have to dissect my work and find out which part can be patentable, and which part is not patentable. Right? That's something which is extremely important for us. Now, if it survives filter number 1, if it survives filter number 1, only then it will go into filter number 2. So if your invention got stuck in filter number 1, like in my diagram, I've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 inventions got into this filter 1, and 4 inventions came out. So the 2 which got stuck in this filter fell in that list. And if it fell in that list, then you will not get a patent for those. Why? Because those 2 inventions were not considered to be inventions within the meaning of the act. Is it clear to you people now? Is this explanation clear to you? Up to
Yes, sir.
filter number 1?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. So, which means that these out of the 6, 2 got stuck here. And because they fell into that list of what are not inventions with the meaning of the act. So the 4 that survived filter 1 will now be taken into filter 2 for the next test, right? So for example, suppose there is a, let us say that for you to join the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, they put some criteria to start with. They said anybody who gets or who has got less than 65% marks in their bachelor's degree, okay, will not be called for interview, which means in the filter 1, all the applications will be put, and anything that is less than 65% will get stuck here. All which is more than 65% will go through, and that will be called for the interview here. Exactly the same way patents. Inventions are put through this filter 1. In filter 1, we have a list which is not considered to be inventions within the meaning of the act. So if your invention goes through filter 1, whatever comes out of filter 1 will now be taken for the interview in filter 2. Question comes in, what is this filter 2? This is where, a lot of very hard techno-legal thinking must come in as to what is this filter 2. In filter 2, the measures in filter 2 are this term called novelty, there's a term called inventive step, and the term called capable of industrial application. So there are 3 benchmarks, and all the 3 benchmarks must be satisfied by your invention. If any one of these do not satisfy the criteria of either novelty or inventive step or capable of industrial application, then even though your invention has survived the filter 1, it will get stuck in filter 2, and you will not get a patent for your invention. So the 3 criteria: novelty, inventive step, and capable of industrial application. All the 3 must get satisfied. And if any one of the benchmarks don't get satisfied, then that invention does not get a patent. So this is the aspect of filter number 2. Filter number 2. So what we will have to do is we will have to evaluate. We will have to understand what is the meaning of the word novelty, what is the meaning of the word or the term inventive step, and what is the meaning of the expression capable of industrial application. So we now move to find out what is the interpretation, what is the meaning of these 3. So before I go further, can somebody summarize for me what we have done today up to now? Can you summarize for me what we have done up to now? Anybody?
Hello.
Please take the mic. Please take the mic. And try to, quickly summarize what we have done so far. Anybody? Kindly take the mic. Kindly give the mic. See if you have a problem with the sound, somebody else can do it. But try to summarize what we have done so far today in 40 minutes.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Um,
Yes, you're perfectly audible.
So,
Kindly go ahead.
so first of all, we have taken the filters that if someone has to do the have to apply for the patent act, then what one must have to do is to first he has to see is it comes under the criteria or is it patentable or not. Then second thing he has to think
First,
about that after
one minute. Whether it is patentable or not, and what is the criteria used there?
that is
Filter
it
number one.
essentially is it comes under the essential biological process or
No,
it
no.
is a medical or
No,
surgical process.
no. The question that will be asked will be whether my invention, which I am saying is an invention, whether the patent act considers that to be an invention or not. So that's the first part. That whether the patent act considers my work to be an invention or not. Correct? And there is a list. And whether my invention falls within that list, that prohibited list. If it falls in the prohibited list, it will not be considered to be an invention in the meaning of the act, in which case I will not get a patent. So you have to explain to me that way. Yeah? Go ahead. Please go ahead, Mr. Shukla.
Yes, sir.
Please go ahead.
So actually, in the meanwhile,
Okay. So, okay, let me repeat. Am I audible now? Hello,
yeah,
am
you
I
are.
audible now? Am I
Yes, sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. You are
Okay.
audible. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So the first criteria that you were trying to tell me is that the criteria is whether whatever I have done, whether that is considered to be an invention by the patent law. If it is not considered to be an invention within that list, then if it is not considered to be an invention, I don't get a patent. Is that correct? Have you understood that? And for that there was a list. So for that there was a list. So I have to go and look at the list, look at my invention, compare it with the list, and see whether my invention falls within that list. If it falls within that list, then it is not considered to be an invention, in which case I will not get a patent. If it is not considered to be a part of that list, then it will go to the filter number 2. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah, right. Then what will happen? So let us say I go to the filter number 1. My whatever work I have done now is considered to be an invention under the patent law. Then what will happen?
I have to first check, is it a merely known thing or it is a common? What is a known thing or any known law or it isn't comes under the law or is it any biology?
Yeah, go ahead.
May I-
You're going the right track.
Okay, so first I have to check that is it any essential? We life or it involves in it, and the next thing we have to think about is it any means if this independent process that already exists, so we have added something in it or it is the commission of this. Everything is working independently, we have just made something. So and hortic
Very good. Excellent.
hello.
Yeah, very good.
Mm.
Well done. Well done. Mr. Shukla, very well done. So now it has survived that.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
goes into filter 2. Will anybody talk about filter 2? It's already in front of you in the slide. I want someone to read out what is the filter 2. What is the filter 2? Read down in the slide, it's already written. I want you to read it out. What are the three terms in filter 2? What are the three terms written in filter 2 down? If somebody can read it?
So novelty,
Yes.
inventive, it should be having some invention and capable of
No.
industrial
It must have
application.
an inventive step.
Inventive
It is-
step
Yes.
and capable
And
of industrial application.
perfect. So now we will have to look at what is the meaning of the word novelty, what is the meaning of inventive step, and what is the meaning of capable of industrial application. And what did we say? That all the three criteria must be satisfied. All the three must be satisfied. If any one of the criteria is not satisfied, then you don't get a patent. So it's very important for us to try and understand the word novelty, the word inventive step, and the expression capable of industrial application. We are now going to concentrate on these three words. Correct? And when we look at our inventions, we will now, if it has survived the filter number 1, we will have to subject our invention to the test of whether it is novel, whether my invention has an inventive step, and whether my invention is capable of industrial application. Clear? So now we will go into the question of what is novelty, what is inventive step, and what is the meaning of capable of industrial application. Clear? So now let us go to the next step. Now, has the slide changed? Has
Yes,
the
sir.
slide changed? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, let us look at the word novelty. What does it mean? It means that if I take my invention, all the essential features of my invention must not be found in a single document. Okay? Or it should not be in a public source anywhere in the world which was published or available before I went to file my patent application. So let us say that I try to file a patent application today, which is the 20th of March. Then as of 20th of March, when I do the full literature search, in my literature search, I should not find in one particular document all the essential features of my invention. If I find one such document where all the essential features, not all the features, but all the essential features of my invention are found in that one document, or there is a product somewhere, or there is a source somewhere, and in that one single source, all the essential features of my invention are in that particular source, then it says that my invention is not novel. What does that mean? So let us assume for a moment that my invention, let's assume that my invention is, dealing with, let us say, let's again go to our mixture, A, B, C, D. Let us say A and B mixed. The mixing of A and B to produce a substance is there in document 1. Let's say in document 2, in my research search, I found that B and C can be mixed to produce a substance. And let us assume there is a third document which says C and D can be mixed to produce a substance. So I have 3 documents. Document 1 telling me about A and B mixing. Document 2 telling that B and C can be mixed. Document 3 says C and D can be mixed. Right? I have 3 documents I found in literature, but I have made A, B, C, D. Will you think that I have passed the test of novelty or have not passed the test of novelty? Anybody? Anybody?
Maybe,
Have I passed or have I failed?
maybe pass.
No, why maybe? Now you have to be definite. Did I pass the test of novelty or I did not pass the test of novelty? Maybe nature.
Actually, you have explained about in a single document, but there is 3 different documents.
Precisely. Because they were in 3 different documents and it is not in a single document, I have passed the test of novelty. Clear?
Yes.
Have you understood from the simple example? So which
Yes.
means all the essential features of the invention must be available in a single document. I cannot combine different documents to say that, oh, you know, if you combine the 3 documents, A, B, C, D are all there. You have done A, B, C, D. So there's nothing. So yours is not novel. No. You have to use 3 documents to come to me to show all my features. Not acceptable if you have to find only one document. Clear? That is the test of novelty. In very, very simple terms. That is the test of novelty. Now, what I will do for you in the next class, it is already 5 o'clock, and in the next class is I will take this whole discussion on, inventive step and industrial applicability and take it further from there. And that is will tell us as to how our inventions are subjected to the full examination process of whether my invention will get a patent or my invention will not get a patent. So up to here, and have you people received some of the my earlier slides, number 1, and number 2, have you received a list of very simple references which I wanted you to read? Have you received it? Has that been uploaded in the website? Hello?
All our lectures are available in Vidya.
So I have given particularly a list of references which are to be read. And I've also given the slides. Has that been uploaded?
Please, we have not received yet, but if you can
No,
send
I've
to
sent
us,
it to Prajapati.
Prajapati. So he says he has not received yet, but you can.
I've sent it long ago. I've sent it to him by email. So, Professor Naik, can I send it to you?
Okay,
If
you
he has
can
not
send to
received
me.
it,
Then
I will
share.
tell you. I will tell you the date on which I sent it to him.
Please forward to
I
me.
just want to-
I will share it.
Okay. So I will again send it to you today. So
Okay.
kindly have it uploaded. And
Yes, sure.
for all the students,
Mhm.
there is going to be a very beautiful, simple booklet
Okay.
called Inventing the Future. What is the booklet called? Inventing the Future.
Inventing the
Kindly
future. Okay.
read that booklet before coming for the next lecture, because in that booklet, you'll already find whatever I've done up to now is very beautifully explained. It's a very simple booklet of some 10 or 15 pages.
Mhm.
Kindly read that fully
Okay.
and
Okay.
come for the next lecture. Okay.
Okay.
So I will send it to Professor Nayak and he will ensure
Okay.
that that gets uploaded.
Yeah, I will. I
Okay.
will share this.
I will send it in the next 5 minutes. Professor Nayak.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I will stop sharing.
There are few
And does
questions.
anybody have any question?
I think there
Just
are
before we leave,
there are
any questions?
there are few questions in
Yes, sir.
YouTube chat box.
Okay, I'll just open the chat box now.
So I have a question.
IVF stands for is correct. How much meaning is
Shukla.
coming from the sentence within body or outside body? Oh, see, when I do something outside the body, that's called in vitro. Outside the body is in vitro, outside the body. Inside the body is called in vivo. So when something happens inside the body, if you are not contributing much to it. But when something happens outside the body, you're contributing to it. What others is that? Filter 1, then novelty inventive step. Filter 2, IVF. Yeah.
Ajay, they were
Just
your
somebody-
answers. You had asked some questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Anything
Shukla,
else? Somebody with a
Dinesh Shukla,
question.
you want to
Yes, sir.
ask something?
Yes, sir.
Please,
Have a-
please ask.
Yes, sir.
Please ask.
The patent, and if someone got the patent and in later stage it is found that is something wrong with that patent, then what is the process after that?
Well, there is a process of what is known as revocation. That means the Patent Act has a process by which says that if somebody has got a patent and somebody else finds out that that person should not have got the patent because either it is not correct or it should not have passed the test of patentability, then there's a way in which one can apply and tell the patent office, oppose it, and say these are the reasons why it should not have got the patent. And then it goes through a procedure, and that is how that patent may get knocked out. And that is called revocation. You can revoke a patent.
Revocation?
Sorry?
Is there any punishment under this revocation?
Well, there is no punishment in terms of that. But suppose that person who got the wrong patent and has enforced it and tried to stop everybody. And if people have undergone losses because of that, you may go and demand back from that person that you shouldn't have got the patent. You got it by these, and these are my losses. You may have to make up for those losses.
There is
Yeah?
one more question in chat box.
Please.
In chat box, there is a question.
Okay, let me go to the question. What are the similarities and differences in Patent Act across different? Okay, we'll take this up next time, where I will say that there is, now for example, we looked at that filter number 1, right? In that filter number 1, there could be some differences in the filter number 1 between country 1 and country 2. Why? Because in that list, India has produced a certain list. But there's a common principle under which this list is made. That's called the TRIPS agreement. I will take this up next time. It'll need a bit of an elaborate explanation. So I will take this up next time positively.
One more question.
Please ask, which is that if I'm filing a patent in India, then to look for novelty, the source of, yes, the source of document is global. It is international. It cannot be that in India I was first. So in India, I did not find a single document. No, it will be anywhere in the world. So it will be subject to literature search from anywhere in the world. Not only literature, even if there is an advertisement, even if there is a newspaper report, even that will be considered. It is not necessary that it must be a journal or a book or a patent. Any public source. Yeah?
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's all.
Wonderful. So we will meet after tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
What's happening? I was not able to go to